Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Welcome back, everyone. We're here today with our second Cabral HouseCall of the weekend. 2165 is today's episode. So if you'd like to tune in today, read along with the questions, you are welcome to. You can head on over to stephencabral.com/podcast or directly to today's page, which is stephencabral.com/2165. Hopefully you tuned in yesterday as well. We had a bunch of great questions on episode 2164, and you're certainly welcome to check out that show from yesterday. So what I want to do is I want to dive right into today's show. I gave you kind of the update, the spiel as to how the Cabral House Calls work, answering our community's questions each and every weekend, and we do about a dozen total. And of course, we're going to get through 6 today as well. Love being able to. What I'm doing right now is open that document for the first time. So literally, I have no prep for these questions. I'm just trying to draw upon 25 years of reading, research, and clinical practice, and hopefully be able to give you not medical advice, not medical treatment plans, but a second opinion as to what to look at for the true underlying root causes. All right, so let's dive in. See, the first question here today is from Emma, and Emma says, "Hello, Dr. Ball. My mother has been diagnosed with Graves' disease and thyroid eye disease. Her symptoms include proptosis in one eye, very low TSH, and normal T4 and T3. Although all of her antibodies show very low or zero, even after repeat testing, is there a specific imbalance or deficiencies you commonly see paired with TSH? What could be causing the proptosis if she doesn't have any antibodies? Could Candida be at play? What are your top recommendations for Graves' thyroid eye disease? So thankful for your support." Thankful. Okay. Or thank you. Apologies. So I have a lot of individual podcasts on this specifically, but what I want to share with you is we need to figure out what exactly we're dealing with. All right. So what I want to do is break this down for everyone. Graves' disease is typically too much thyroid hormone being produced. All right, usually it's an autoimmune issue. When you look at someone's labs, they have a TSH of below 0.5, okay? If someone has low thyroid, believe it or not, they have a high TSH. It's above a 5, but if you're in functional medicine, it's above a 2. So ideally, the sweet spot for your TSH is 0.5 to 2. Now, thyroid eye disease is just, again, another name for an inflammatory eye issue caused by some type of inflammation in the body, and we're saying it's caused by not proptosis, or because that's basically protrusion of the eye. So a bulging eye is proptosis, and I don't know that I'm pronouncing that exactly correct, but it's proptosis, I believe. And the thing is, if you don't have high antibodies, then there doesn't seem to be an autoimmune process at play. What's causing the greater production of TSH or thyroid hormone? So it is possible that there's some type of benign or non-benign tumor on the hypothalamus or pituitary gland. I'm sure your doctors, your endocrinologist has already spoken to you about that. They probably ruled it out, but you should, if you haven't ruled it out, you should rule that out because that can affect the secretion of thyroid hormone. And if there's too much, or if there's, again, a benign mass or some type of mass there that can cause more secretion than it should be, there's also a direct connection with the adrenals. So if you haven't run the hormones test, stress hormones, mood and metabolism test, I would. That's at stephencabral.com/labs. I would definitely look at heavy metals. So you can look at that minerals and metals test, or you can look at the heavy metal toxicity test. And then there's one more I want to give you, and that is too much iodine in the diet or supplementation. Too much, it's unlikely, selenium. That would really be it. And it's really more iodine. All right. So look for too much iodine in the diet. Look for the hormones that I just spoke about with cortisol. and then look at the hypothalamus pituitary. Those are my recommendations, okay? And we wish you all the best. Anonymous is up next. If someone is sensitive or allergic to wormwood and or black walnut, what product or ingredients would you recommend instead to be able to do a parasite protocol and a CBO protocol? It seems like omitting that microbial balance and parapro would not achieve the best results, but I can't tolerate either of these, even using the smallest dose in titration. I get severe stomach pain when using these supplements. I've learned so much from your podcast. Thank you for all you do. Anonymous, I'm happy to help. And, we see this all the time in our practice, so no worries at all. So, what I recommend are any of the antimicrobials that we use in the CBO protocol. So we've got the Candida one, we got they all work in conjunction like each other, okay? So if you see one with black walnut, then you're just going to use 2 bottles of the other. So let me give you a little bit more of a recommendation. So I'm going to go to CBO protocol. I'm sure this will pop up for Equal Life since we're the only ones. We're the inventor of the CBO protocol. We're not going to click on the ad because that costs money. And then we're going to go to the CBO protocol. All right. So let me move you through these. All right. Those are the biofilm. We've got now a product for microbial balance that contains black walnut hull and the sweet wormwood. And that's why CBO works with parasites as well, but it's not meant specifically for that. So let's move on to the next one. So we're going to skip the microbial one. And then the next one is oregano leaf. This is the gut bacterial support, berberine, oregano, clove. Okay, so this is your answer. So you're going to do 2 bottles of the gut bacterial support instead of that microbial one. And then there's going to be one more. So let me see if I can find that as well. And and that will be fine too. So it's really just one product, it seems, that you can't use. And that will be replaced, as I said, with the gut bacterial support. And you're going to remove the microbial balance. All right. So this is a custom one. So it's not easy to do, but you can certainly email support@equi.life, and we're here to help. I mean, this is what we do. We don't take the easy shortcuts. We are a company based on customer care and customer support. And it's literally what we do. So we're happy to help. All right. So that will answer your question. And you can use that as well for the parapro protocol too, because you just can't use the specific products with black walnut and wormwood, even though they're great. If you don't react well with them, then we can't do that. All right, Michelle's up next. I'm always in a quest to source the best possible animal proteins I could find. Recently, I went on a search for turkey, specifically turkey slices like deli meat. I know better than to buy any grocery store deli meat, so I tried searching for local pasture-raised turkey, but couldn't find anything except a whole bird. Then I referenced the Institute's Organic Poultry Scorecard, Cornucopia Institute's Organic Poultry Scorecard, which gave me one option I could find in stores with a 4-bird rating. But on further research of that company, I found they only have a special holiday bird that qualifies for the GAP Step 5 rating, and all their other birds are only GAP Step 3, which means outdoor access, but not pasture raised. Very frustrating, as I've come to the conclusion that I'll probably need to buy a whole bird and cook it myself. What I'm wondering, though, is even with the local pasture-raised farms, it's normal to supplement with organic, non-GMO food that is a grain product. I do not eat grains due to my autoimmune history. If I'm eating animal protein that had some grain during its lifespan, does that affect me? To quote Michael Pollan, you are what you eat eats. Yes, it's a very good quote. I like that. All right, Michelle, totally understand your question. Turkey is really hard to find for good quality turkey, except around the November timeframe. So I totally understand. It's just not raised to the same degree quantity-wise as chicken or beef or even buffalo, right? There's just not the same amount. So, but I agree, turkey can be a good quality protein for those that eat turkey. So will you be affected by what the animal eats? You could possibly, not to the same like allergen. Like if you have an allergen to flax and the animal eats flax, you're not going to you shouldn't, again, I can't give medical advice, but you shouldn't have a reaction to the animal because it ate flax. The problem is, what is it fed for a grain-based product? That's really what it comes down to. Is it fed gluten-based grains? Is that going to then create inflammation in the animal itself? Well, probably and possibly. But some grains are not going to be bad for something like a turkey or a chicken to eat if that would be something they would naturally be able to find and eat. right? So not processed grains. I certainly don't recommend that. And I do recommend the same as you. I recommend not necessarily organic, but I recommend pastured raised animals. That means whatever they find out there is what they're going to eat. But again, if you're in like the Northeast or Northwest, it's cold, there's nothing growing, there's no grass, you have to feed the animals something, right? And so what are you going to feed them? Well, you need to feed them then the next best thing, which is some type of chicken or turkey-based feed from natural-based products that are non-GMO and ideally organic. So I'm on the same page as you. I really am. I would just ask the company, hey, what are they fed? And then look, is this an inflammatory food? And if it's an inflammatory food, well, then you're probably going to be eating an inflamed animal or poultry, right? So that's what I would look at. Same as you. All right. Melania is up next. Yeast showed up in the stool test, but not in the organic acids test. How is this even possible? I put in the emphasis right there. All right. So Melania, the way that is possible, and you won't hear this from a lot of practitioners, but this is the real reason why, is that on an organic acids test, most people come in, if you have yeast overgrowth and you have bacterial overgrowth, you get all sorts of issues in the gut, you probably have some intestinal permeability. So we see those metabolic markers move into the bloodstream. We see them filtered by the kidneys. We see them move to the bladder and out as urine. Okay. So then it shows up in the urine because an organic acid test is urine, right? One of the caveats is that if someone has a pretty intact wall, like intestinal wall, you may not get elevated levels of a lot of those Candida markers. And if you have very diluted urine, you may not get elevated levels of that Candida as well. So two possibilities. So even though the stool test is not the best at testing for yeast, it can still definitely show up. Now, the best test is certainly the Candida metabolic and vitamins test for yeast, but there is always the possibility of intact intestinal wall, especially in children, and or diluted sample too. All right, so those are the main possibilities. But go by the stool test. It's a valid test, and it is not showing you a false positive. All right. All right. So there can be false negatives, like, oh, it says no parasites. Well, it could be a pretty thick biofilm and nothing shows up. It's always a possibility, but there are really no false positives that I've seen. Tina's up next. I'm a 52-year-old female who loves doing bodybuilding shows every couple of years. I eat very healthy, macro-based diet with whole foods. Play on for the most part. I am very healthy. I just ordered the Big 5 and I'm excited to test my hormones. Curious, how can I put on more muscle without taking steroids? How can I increase my testosterone levels naturally? Is there something I could be eating or taking to help me put on more muscle? I do strength training 5 days a week, moderately heavy, but I feel like I'm not putting on any new muscle. Thank you for everything. I think you're amazing and I appreciate you and your team so much. Thank you, Tina. I appreciate you. That means a lot. So whether you're male or female, 52 years old, testosterone is declining, right? But we can help that, no doubt about it. So I have a whole bunch of podcasts, a whole bunch of YouTube videos on how to increase testosterone naturally. First, I say, okay, you need to be eating enough protein. I'm sure you're doing bodybuilding, you're eating enough protein. You're probably doing that. But remember, as you become older, a little bit more catabolic, your protein needs may increase. Don't go overboard because we know that it can lead to higher levels of IGF-1. And yes, that is good for putting on muscle, but it can lead to cancer and other issues as well. Now, so get enough protein, that's important. Get more sleep, that's important. But then we want to be using vitamin C. We want to be using zinc. Of course, we need our vitamin D. All right, so those are factors. There's no doubt about it. But you might be, if you haven't done already, start to use DHEA. You might just use 5 milligrams in the morning, 5 after lunch or afternoon or even at night. All right, and that's going to help with that testosterone boost in production. The next thing is, since the adrenals at 52 are making more, especially of the testosterone, or at least from a downhill-based product, you want to make sure your adrenals are functioning properly. Run the stress hormones mood and metabolism test. No doubt about it. That is if there's only one test you run, Tina, that is the one. It's direct at stephencabral.com/hormones-test, or go to stephencabral.com/labs, and you'll be able to find the stress hormones mood and metabolism test there. One more note for you is in that just a week or two, we have a brand new longevity line and anti-aging product suite coming out with Ecolife. Over a year in the making, these are the products that I've been using and formulating for years, now condensed into single products. So we have a testosterone boosting product that is all natural. All of these are science-based to the nth degree, meaning the highest degree possible. So you may choose to use the testosterone support formula, along with the DHEA in addition to what we just spoke about. All right. Thank you, Tina. Simon's up next. Hi, Dr. Cabral. I know you are a big fan of high-powered blenders for smoothies, and I was wondering what your thoughts are on vacuum pressurized blenders, which remove air before blending, supposedly reducing oxidation. I have to make my smoothie 2 hours before I drink it every morning, so the potential to reduce oxidation is appealing. But I'd love to hear on whether you think they're worth the extra money and have any recommendations. This is kind of funny that you're mentioning this because I've been looking up this exact topic. I have so many blenders. I mean, I really do. It's absurd. Now, the nice thing is if you buy a nice blender, it will last you maybe a lifetime. Honestly, your Vitamix may last you your lifetime, which is pretty hilarious because they have like a lifetime guarantee. And the BlendTech has like a 20-year guarantee. So I've got less expensive blenders too. I've got Ninjas and all sorts of stuff at my office. Bullets, you name it. But I like the big capacity. It has to have at least a 32-ounce capacity for me to use it. If not, I can't blend the big smoothie that I like. So that's why I like the Vitamix. I like the BlendTechs. Those are great. They're expensive, but honestly, if you use it once or twice a day like I do, and then my family uses it once or twice a day, we're using this thing 4 times a day, potentially 3 to 4 times a day, every day of the year. That's over 1,200 times a year. If you look at that, it's expensive, but it's something that you use all the time. So I'm happy to invest in items like that for the family. So this is interesting though, because I've been looking at these vacuum blenders and I'm going to do a podcast on it. I'll do a Friday review. There's no doubt about it. So stay tuned for that. All right. Today's episode 2165. Stay tuned in the future. Probably won't be for a couple months. I'm going to do a review of my favorite one because there is actual validity to these vacuum-based blenders. Now, there are add-on contraptions that you can actually use for your current blender, and that's what I'm looking into right now. Now, I've already started to look at the research, but I haven't gone in depth enough, and I've seen before and afters for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours of what people's smoothies and juices look like when using pressurized and not. And I can tell you for sure, 30 minutes later, there's far less oxidation. So I believe, and I just want to do a little bit more research, and I also want to try the products out for myself. But if you're leaning one way, I would say, I don't know which brand to recommend to you quite yet, but I would say is yes, there's actual validity behind it. And so thank you, Simon, for bringing this up. It's going to get me on my horse to go out there and make sure that I test one out. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. That is our show for today. I appreciate you. I will be back tomorrow, though, with our Mindset and Motivation Monday. Don't miss it. It's the best way to start the week. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. Hopefully you got a lot of value from it. That is my goal every single day, is try to share with you something that I've learned over the past 25 years that has helped tens of hundreds of thousands of people all around the world. And what I want to do is also be able to share with you things that I use in my practice that I think you may find useful as well. One of those is vitamin D. And I really like the liquid vitamin D. It's one less capsule to take every single day. And you can actually just measure it by drops, which is really easy. So someone like myself and most people in our practice, they do 4 drops right under the tongue every single day. I do mine with my smoothie in the morning. It makes it really easy. And this vitamin D, one bottle lasts you about 3 months, sometimes even 4 months, so it's pretty convenient and easy to have around. What I'd like to do is share with you a free bottle today. So on all qualifying orders over at Equilife, we'll actually add to your order a free bottle of vitamin D. It's going to be about 3 or 4 month supply if you're using about 4 drops per day. That's the average adult use. You might use a little bit less. You might use a little bit more, all based on your vitamin D testing. So if you haven't tested your vitamin D, you're also welcome to do that at stevencabral.com/labs. Click on that vitamin D lab. But today, you might as well get yourself a free bottle of vitamin D. It's about a $39 value. You can get it yours free on all qualifying orders by heading on over to stevencabral.com/shop. Take care, everyone.